Hello, everyone. The IPL is over, but we are back with yet another edition of Mute Me, your favorite debate show here on ESPN Cricinfo. I'm Alexis Nunes, and this one is all about Australia versus India. And we've got our own version of Australia versus India in this edition of Mute Me. Tom Moody as the host, he's going to get introduced first, as well as Sanjay, Manjrekar, and Aakash Chopra are all back with us. They are ready to rip each other apart for this series. That's what all their topics will be about. Let me just go over the rules really quickly. Everyone will have a topic to present. They'll have 60 seconds within which to argue their topic. However, after 15 seconds, if the other panelists are not buying their argument, they can hold up their mute sign. And 2 mute signs means you gotta go. But we will let the debate continue, and we will let them in for some more arguments. So, gentlemen, are you ready? We're gonna start this one off with Aakash. What is your topic?
Okay. My first topic is that Team India physio must manage and be the final decision when it comes to all first team players. So the idea behind this is that what we saw in the IPL this time around, a couple of injuries, more than a couple of injuries, and there was a certain amount of lack of clarity that what is the status of those injuries, what is the kind of workload that should be then allowed for these players, the first team players, contracted players with Team India. Because in all fairness, if a guy is about 60, 70, 80% fit, if he can take the field, the franchise might want to have him on the park, go out there and do the business. But that might actually hurt the long-term vision or the plan for Team India. And therefore, even though the guy is actually with a franchise, it should be the Team India physio who should be taking the final call with regards to his injury status, his rehab, and the workload thereafter.
Wow, Aakash absolutely went unscathed and finished his argument with 4 seconds to go. Gents, so all in agreement with him?
It makes sense to me. The simple fact that what was quite obvious was the lack of clarity and communication to the media, to the public around this issue. And I think that has created an unnecessary storm. I think you're right in your view. I feel that the Indian physio and medical team are the ones that should have the last say, but there needs to be, and I know there is from experience, I know there is that sort of communication, but there needs to be not only communication within, it needs to be transparent.
From my experience, especially in the Indian cricket culture, during our time as well, it was really dependent on the player, whether he was keen to play. The physio just about endorsed the players, what he wanted to do. So it's a nice idea, but I'm not sure whether it's a pragmatic one.
All right, we will leave it at that. Got everyone on the same page. Good start there, Aakash. Coming up next, though, is a man who's been backed up into a corner because he's outnumbered, Tom Moody. But we know when Aussies are backed up into a corner, they come out fighting. So what is your topic, Tom?
Well, let's hope so. Look, my topic is Australia must play Will Pucovski in the upcoming Test series against India. Now, this kid's 22 years old. He's started the season here in Australia, the Sheffield Shield season, off with a bang, scoring nearly 500 runs in just 3 innings. This is on top of already a very impressive first-class career where he averages 55. In that, he's got 600s. This kid's got an appetite for big scores, which is a real positive sign. He's up against Joe Burns. Joe Burns is 31. His performance so far in Sheffield Shield cricket, he's only got just over 50 runs in the 3 innings. To me, runs are your currency. If Burns was a test player and an established test player that had been around for a long time, that has delivered consistently, it's a different story. But Burns, unfortunately, has not been that. He's been in and out of the side, where Pucovski is time for him to shine.
All right, Tom wraps his things up before the timer is up. Aakash was shaking his head in agreement there, but Sanjay didn't buy the entire argument. You held up your mute sign. Sanjay, what did you find fault with?
It's interesting, actually, where the selector has publicly announced that David Warner's view will be taken into consideration, deciding when they're selecting his partner, for the test matches. And David Warner has picked Burns already as the partner that he would like. So Tom Moody's point is well made, but if David Warner prefers Burns, and they've had a pretty good record together, then you would think that that might get respected. So I don't dispute Tom Moody's suggestion and his opinion, but I guess in the end, the selector is likely to go with David Warner's preference.
It's very interesting you make that point. And the point I'd make is that it's very difficult for David Warner when he's asked a curveball like that in the media to not support a longtime friend and his existing partner. So I think, one, Warner should have avoided the answer. And two, I think the selectors should have made it very clear that decision is still unmade. So it's created an unnecessary circulation of conversation around who should be or shouldn't be in that test side.
All right, perfect. We'll take that one. And then finally, that leaves us with the man who's held up his mute sign already. Sanjay Manjrekar, what is your topic?
First, let me be very honest. I held up the mute sign because people should know this is a mute me program. Everyone's just being too
We
nice.
love it. We admire when you hold up the mute sign. See, now Tom's beating you because he's holding it up closer.
Just get on with the topic. Get on with the topic.
No, I'm just hoping there's somebody in Aakash Chopra's home to take his phone away from him, because when I start talking, the first 10 seconds, there it will come up. Right. Okay. Here goes my statement. This is actually going to be a very interesting tour for India, because you're looking at 3 formats. You've got the one-day series, the T20 series, and followed by 4 test matches. And of course, the big talking point is Rohit Sharma missing from the white ball leg. Virat Kohli won't be playing the first test. Rohit Sharma will be playing the first test, won't be playing the last 3. That's Virat Kohli. Rohit Sharma likely to miss the first 2 tests. So this series and this tour will be a real test of the depth of Indian cricket. Whether they can actually still compete with Australia despite the loss of some of their key players. Now, white ball cricket, not the right format to know the actual health of any nation's cricket. If you want to look at how healthy the sport is in any nation, you've got to look at test cricket, because that is really where, you get to know the actual health of a nation's cricket. So when it comes to those 4 test matches, how India competes will tell us how much India has progressed and how vibrant Indian cricket is when it comes to test match cricket.
All right, that's it. Tom Moody's the only one that found fault with that. And Tom, I mean, he's using Australia as a bar within which that you've got to measure this India team to. I thought that was almost a compliment, but what did you find fault with?
Yeah, look, that is a compliment, and it's not an easy place to win Test cricket, and Australia find it equally as difficult to win in India. But the reason I muted that was I found fault in the argument because every team goes through challenges where they have players missing for whatever reason. The last time India toured Australia, Australia had their 2 best batsmen missing because of the controversy in South Africa. My word to that is just get on with it. The fact that someone's missing a test match or 3 test matches or a half a series for whatever reasons, yes, it does create opportunity. But to me, I don't think it really tests the depth of the side as much, because you're only giving a player 1, maybe 2 test matches, which really doesn't, to me, reflect on how your depth is standing.
Moving on again. Aakash, you're back again. What is your next topic?
My next topic is that for the first test match, the pink ball test match on the 17th of December, India should play either Ravindra Jadeja or Kuldeep Yadav ahead of Ravichandran Ashwin. Why I say that is because the last test match that India played, it was Ravindra Jadeja who played, and he actually showed the ability, the caliber to bowl on a greenish pitch at Christchurch. He was quite decent with the ball. He's a phenomenal fielder, and his batting has improved leaps and bounds in the test format over the last 12-18 months. If that is not your choice, go with Kuldeep Yadav, because the last test match that he played in Australia, he picked up 6 wickets. It's a pink ball test match. Virat Kohli will be there. I think India must go with 4 bowling options that allow them to take 20 wickets. Don't worry about the batting. You play 6 batsmen, play a keeper, play proper 4 bowlers. And we've seen that pink ball cricket on a greenish surface. It's the wrist spinner that might actually make it tougher for the Aussie batsmen. So Kuldeep Yadav or Ravindra Jadeja ahead of Ravichandran Ashwin for the first test match.
All right, and his argument's done with 5 seconds to spare. Sanjay, I see you kind of making up your face though.
Yeah, I mean the face is because I'm the eternal skeptic. I'm always skeptical about everything. So it's a good argument and good points made by Aakash. But the thing is that India will play 3 seamers and they'll look for 1 spinner, and they've got a choice between Kuldeep Yadav, Jadeja, and Ashwin. Now, what we've seen with Ashwin, if you looked at his test career, especially overseas, he's been brilliant in the first test match whenever he's played, whether it's been South Africa, England, or Australia for that matter. So if you want to get the best out of Ashwin playing in the first test match, because as the series goes on, he just tapers off as a player. And I would actually go for Jadeja before Kuldeep Yadav. And for all those people who are hearing me talk about Jadeja, I'd like to remind that I rate him very highly as a test cricketer, because he is a wonderful test bowler. And Aakash, that was a good observation, that he's not anymore a guy who will only get wickets on rank turners in test matches. So on an Australian pitch, on day 4, if there's rough outside the left-handers, off stump, or there's enough roughness, Jadeja, with his speed, his strength that he has in his bowling, can actually make life difficult for the batsman. So certainly, before Kuldeep Yadav, I would have Ashwin and Jadeja as the spinners to consider. But because of Ashwin's track record over the years, maybe Ashwin's slightly ahead of Jadeja, but not fast if Jadeja gets the opening first.
Moody, you're up next. What's your topic?
My topic is, I think India have missed a trick in their reserve squad. Now, they sent out 4 fast bowlers as backup, but also I think more so net bowlers for 1, experience, but 2, because of the COVID situation where they can't have external bowlers from club cricket and state cricket to help them prepare for matches. I feel they've missed a trick because they should have also sent out 4 young emerging spinners. We've just been talking about spin bowling. Spin in Australia is one of the hardest things for spinners to adapt to for overseas teams. Ashwin averages over 50 in Test cricket. Matai Muralidharan averages over 50 in Test cricket. I feel that India should have sent out the likes of Rahul Chahar, Ravi Bishnoi, Aksa Patel's another one they could have pretend, Morgan Ashwin. There's just 4 to speak of they could have sent out to help develop their skills and just learn to what it's like to be in Australia and bowl in those conditions.
All right, as well, you wrapped up before your 60 seconds are up. And I see faces from Sanjay and Aakash, but no mute signs. So I might assume that you guys agree that India have missed a massive trick here.
See, for a limited overs cricket, like for white ball cricket, perhaps yes. That you can obviously, this is a huge squad. You can send as many as you want, and then nobody's going to ask a question. So for limited overs cricket, Rahul Chahar, Bishnoi, Murugan Ashwin, Aksa Patel, they're all fine. They could have gone from the IPL, stay there for the white ball leg, and then just come back home. Unfortunately, the fact is that for red ball cricket, besides the ones that are there already in Australia, India doesn't have a second string of spinners who can actually make it to the test team. So even if I were given an opportunity, okay, pick 4 spinners who are your possible, probable India test spinners in 5 years time, I can't pick 4. So that's the unfortunate part.
That's my whole point, is that's how you find out whether these young players, given opportunity, exposure, can step up. Who's to say they can't play test cricket until they're exposed not to playing it, but that environment?
Perfect. We'll leave it at that then. And finally, last but certainly never least, Sanjay, up again. What is your next topic?
Right. My statement is that Mohammad Siraj, I think, should get the nod ahead of Saini as the 3rd seamer, purely because Siraj, when it comes to this format, the long format test cricket, could be a good 3rd seamer instead of Saini, based on the fact that he has much better first-class returns when it comes to average and strike rate than Saini.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sanjay,
I'm shocked, actually. I'm shocked that there's been no mute me. I got this out purely because, I would get a couple of mutes at least.
Sanjay, I was waiting for 15 seconds to get over. I actually counted it down. So it was 15 seconds and I just lifted it up. I said because
Just mute him from the start next time. Aakash, but you muted him. You wanted to mute him from his very first word, apparently.
yes, yes.
Why is that?
No, because see, there are times when you actually look at cold numbers. Cold numbers will tell you a certain kind of story, which is absolutely fair. But when you see certain people, certain players, you have to go with what you are seeing and believing in what you are seeing. So when we talk about Siraj and Saini, when you put them up against one another, you see Saini with a class, with something that I'm not taking anything away from Siraj, but the fact is Saini is actually cut out to play international cricket. Test cricket at that, red ball cricket is where I think he'll get the best, which will get the best out of him. He's picked up a truckload of wickets as well in first class cricket, so it's not that he's done absolutely nothing. And I do feel that one day T20 they should, even if they don't play him, they play anybody else. But come the test matches, it is going to be Navdeep Saini who's quick in the air, doesn't really move the ball in the air, darts around after pitching, and Kukubura old ball. You need a bowler who can come hit the deck hard with the wind speed and make the ball talk. I think Navdeep Saini hands down over Mohammad Siraj. And the second thing about Siraj is that he can be very inconsistent. We've seen what happened with Umesh. If you can't bowl in one channel, in one area, for a considerable period of time in Test cricket, it becomes almost impossible for the captain to control the runs and the flow of the game. So Navdeep Saini on all counts, actually.
All right, perfect. Well, that brings to the end this edition of Mute Me, the first edition of the Australia-India upcoming series. And now it's time to crown a winner. I've been deliberating with my producer, and we have decided that the winner of this edition is none other than Mr. Aussie himself, Tom Moody.
I was not muted even once.
He has won. Let me explain why. Because his two topics were very well-rounded in the sense that one was about Australia, one was about India, and he even went as far as to bring up extra India spinners. He did his homework. Moody, raise your back. You already have.
I'm raising my back. Thank you.
This is it.
Round of applause.
I'm muting you.
Aakash is trying to mute me now.
Yes.
So that's going to wrap things up. Thanks to Sanjay. Thanks, Aakash. And thanks to our new champion, Tom Moody. Make sure to keep it tuned here on ESPN Cricinfo for plenty more Mute Me.